Hey folks, my name is Yashesh Shroff, and I'm privileged, to be here at Perkins for our talk today. I represent ACM chapter of SFBay, and here there are a number of other board members, Greg Mikowski, Liana, who actually helped organize this thing, Mike Fong in the back over there, and for those in the audience, you can see him. Online you can't, but that's okay. And supporting us live online is Liz Runs. I don't know if you have anybody else online. Maybe we have Carl who's managing our YouTube. So if you came to the Meetup page, very easy to find Meetup and SFBayACM. It's the first link that will come across. Then you can actually check out all of our excellent, I don't know how many talks we have now, definitely in the hundreds. 4K high definition, very high quality talks, going back, I would say at least 10 years on a lot of different topics. So really excited to have today's talk on Soopra.ai personas. Can't wait to hear about it. Earlier we were having a little chat, Praveena and myself, but let me just wait to hear more about it when we get going. But a little bit about ACM before that. ACM has been around obviously for, I don't know, at this point, since 70 plus years. I always get corrected on the exact age. And it's just
46 for the national and 56 for us.
Okay, 56 for us. And how much?
Since 1946 for national.
Since 1946 for national, right? So that makes it, what, almost 80 years, right? 78 years. So quite old. And in the age of Meetup and in the age of TikTok and whatnot, the sustainability of it is amazing. And that's because of the quality of talks, the quality of publications that ACM has. So we strongly encourage you, please do consider joining us as part of our chapter. Here's a little join page. Subscription is only $20, and it gets you pizza, right? It's a and I'm going to quickly show this also. We have a number of events throughout the year. Everything is basically free. Twice a year we have, twice a month, sorry, one general topic. General topic is on the first Monday of the month. And on the third Wednesday of the month, we have the science topic. And Greg, Liana, they lead these respective ones. We are going to have a board change. And after 2 years, I'll be stepping down and the board will take place, replace the current one. And that is actually going to happen on June 12th. And we have an amazing talk lined up for that one as well. If you can see this, premier on major topics in AI, law, and policy. So very appropriate that we're here at Perkins. Would have been interesting to have that talk here right now. I'm sure this is going to be just as great. We don't want to be too meta about these things. And during this talk, we will actually elect our new board. And I'm really excited for the new set of folks to actually take over responsibility. One other thing that I'll mention, please, if you go outside, Mike Fong is, if you want to be a volunteer, if you want to have membership, please talk to Mike. On the volunteering front, I will just ask you guys, several years ago, I was sitting like you guys here, and one burning itch I had was to be part of a community, right, that is giving back. And as engineers, somehow we feel that, and I think most of us feel it. But it's always about what, where, how. And so hopefully SFBayACM chapter meets all of your what, where, how answers. But if you have, if you want any details, come talk to any one of us, that I just introduced. Okay, without further ado then, please let me ask Praveena to come up. Praveena, thank you very much. And you'll do introduction for yourself.
Well, good evening again. I am very excited to be here today and talk in front of such amazing group here. And I'm Praveena Dhanalakota, founder and CEO CTO at Soopra. And before founding Soopra, I spent over a decade in the AI space. I built the first chatbot for Wells Fargo. And then I got that chatbots are very boring, right? So I wanted to venture more into AI specifics. So I had an opportunity to work with Daimler and NVIDIA, contributing to autonomous driving space. And if you have any current generation Mercedes or BMW and that has autonomous, I'd have contributed to those models. So, and today I'm covering some of the topics that are super dear to my heart, that is AI and Soopra. And we'll cover in the next few minutes some of the very high level on where AI is, because that's very important on the next topics that I'm going to talk about Soopra. And we'll talk about AI personas of Soopra, which is the personas of experts, because many of you are domain-specific experts, like some are experts in AI, some are professors, some are thought leaders, so those things. And we'll cover a little bit about AI in education, because that's the next release of Soopra coming, and I'll leave plenty of room for Q&As. Are you guys ready?
Yeah.
So let's start with Industries Revolution, because this is very important, because this gave us a way for optimize and enhance our capability to do stuff. So as you can see here, from 1765, 1870, and 1969, and all those revolutions have a century kind of a time period. But with the fourth industrial revolution, we are pretty close to less time period, I could say. That is because if you observe it, it's because we have appetite for innovation, and new technologies are emerging now very quickly because of the technology and the other things that are happening around. And we live in this era that is rapid evolving technology, and at the forefront is artificial intelligence. So today, AI is not just a buzzword. It's everywhere. It has changed how we live, how we work, and also how we learn. And for example, GPTs now can help write you essays, and also answer general questions, and as well as create poetry for you. And another major significant achievement is AlphaFold, which was by DeepMind, which can predict the protein structure, a critical task for drug discovery and understanding diseases. But with advancement, we all should keep in mind that the fourth industrial revolution is not just about advancing in machines or boosting business. It's about shaping the society for better. So that is, we take that very seriously while working on products of Soopra. So the society can be one type where we all know that it's Terminator and Matrix kind of is time. And there is another thing that we could do, which is comfortably living and coexisting with machines. But if we don't really take care of being responsible, there is a possibility that we go into dystopian future. So let's talk a little bit about AI specialties and their relationship with each other, because all these specialties have significant degree of connections with each other. So demonstrating like knowledge exchange between each of these domains. For example, deep learning specifically has several semantic relationships with both neural networks and classifiers. Computer vision has connections with classifier classes, but also with deep learning. In fact, computer vision was one of the first applications for the domains of deep learning technique. So each specialty can solve one specific problem, like speech recognition, but it cannot be a standalone product, because there are multiple things that need to work together, which is NLP, where you can text-to-speech conversion and all those. So that leads to a question like, can machines really reach human-level intelligence? So I think that is a very much we see like topics on Twitter, LinkedIn, where some say that today AI has reached human-level intelligence. Some say no, So, but in order for machines to reach human level intelligence, there's a lot of things that need to happen because there is a multimodal mapping that need to happen. When I say multimodal mapping is they need to perform like humans because today I'm here, I am processing the information based on the event that I'm in, the situation where I'm in, and the people that are around me, and the sound, information, and vision. So there are a lot of things that we process while trying to make a decision or to perceive some information. But that level of intelligence, if machines need to learn and become human level intelligence, there's a lot need to happen. But I think there is a beginning. So that's where we are trying to build some of the things in at Soopra that at least give some level of intelligence as you are. So I think there is a trend that we all are seeing right now, which are called AI clones. And it's just beginning. Recently, Hippocratic AI launched expert doctor personas, where these personas are available for helping patients talk about after surgery care, general prescription related questions. Because right now, if there is any questions that these patients have, they need to wait for 24 to 48 hours. So, but with this expert doctor personas, it can be available 24/7 and you have the responses right away. And I think this is the picture everybody can see what's happening here. So this went really viral on LinkedIn when Reed posted this video of him talking to his AI, which was pretty interesting, which is like a general purpose. I want to talk to my AI and make it learn, right? And on Soopra, we have expert personas. So where individuals can create their persona and make it available 24/7. And this is the persona of Dr. Ronja Nag, who is a well-known Stanford professor. And he teaches AI, longevity, investment, and he's an innovator and an investor. So he has multiple personalities, personas, I mean to say. Pretty interesting and very genius, I could say. So, so can we give intelligence to AI so that it is very specific to you? So that it can really be very, very much like me instead of being a general AI. So here is Stephen Hawking's quote here: human brain is like a computer. So it is possible to copy the brain onto a computer and to provide a form of life after death. To be honest, I don't know about after death, but there is some things that we could do, like can we copy your brain, but not the brain, but we are talking about digital copy. They're introducing Soopra. So on Soopra, what you could do is you can create your AI persona with your digital footprint, that is any text, images, videos, links, voice, and all those kind of digital footprint, because I myself have 6 terabytes of data, just images and videos, and I have a lot of content that I might have presented in the past. I have documents, content, and all those. On top of it, we give a context layer of Soopra to give more information, relationship to that content that a user is adding to their Soopra. On top of it, we add public data like weather, location, and facts about places and event, through which you can create your Soopra that is a unique digital reflection of yourself with your voice, image, stories, and memories, with which you can publish on the platform the real your personas based on your real life. I'm an AR expert, I'm an entrepreneur, and I'm also a mom. So these personas can be available based on what you are to interact with your users. So, so there is this concept called reinforcement learning with human in the loop, or human feedback. Approximately 80% of AI projects fail. And absolute certainty of information is not there. I think most of you might be seeing that when ChatGPT, when you talk with it, there's so much of hallucination. There is not certainty that the information is true and factful information. And also to train some kind of models, you need large amount of data, which is high cost. And also when you don't have human in the loop, there is a bias to it. And I think you guys can associate with this picture too, where recently with Google AI, it said that in order to glue pizza together, you need to use the actual non-toxic glue, and you can eat pizza with glue, which is not right, because the training data that was used was Reddit data, which was like years ago, where it was just a joke about it. But the AI got that information, it started spitting out when a user was asking about the question. But and here is another example. For this presentation, what I was trying to do is create an AI image for democratizing knowledge access. And if you could see that, the spelling of democratization is wrong, and I did not give any information about the sentence. So this is the image I am stuck with. I can't really use as is. So I'm going to talk, you'll see this image in the slide for sure. So, so I think one thing that we touched in the previous slides is how can you create a digital reflection of yourself? One, you can add your digital footprint. On top of it, what we are doing is giving you an ability to add your knowledge and intelligence to your Soopra persona. And we also give speech and image modeling, where we say, when we say speech and image modeling, is because I come from India and I have a different dictionary of terms that I use. So how can your Soopra persona learn about the terms that you use, the diction and all those? And also image modeling is, what is a gesture? Sometimes I use my hands more. I'm a person like moving my head more. So because we as an individual, when you see or meet anyone, you connect with people with how they their psychology is while you're talking to them. What is their personality like? Are you connected with their intelligence? And your conversation itself becomes so important to be connected and talk to that person, to have that very personalized interaction. So this is our personality engine framework, where we have knowledge and intelligence modeling, speech and image modeling, and psychology, as I mentioned, and along with the conversation modules on it. I'm going to talk to those in the next few, because I think that is a very interesting question. Definitely, we are focusing on that because that is the core of our product. So we are going in the route of AI experts because it is a very obvious transformative way for AI to use right now, because these experts have content and they have specific information that they really have, instead of building personas by general people with no information. Then the personas cannot be rich to interact with. So, so these experts are available for people to learn from, interact, and ask questions. So these experts can enhance in an education space, research, and professional field by providing accurate and more personalized responses. So we are focusing on two things with Soopra Persona, that is personalization, which is based on what a user is asking, understanding the user intent, and how the persona can be really more personalized to answer those questions. And also from a persona side, how can it really mirror the expert persona's behavior whose persona is based on. This becomes an important thing because it makes the interaction very intuitive and natural. So this is the image I was talking about. So I had to crop that top portion and use it, still used it. So what we are doing is we are democratizing the knowledge access here. So growing up as an aspiring student, I didn't have access to professors at leading universities like Stanford or Harvard. The problem was back then there, and even today it still exists. And at Soopra, what our mission is to democratize the access to these leaders and knowledge. With Soopra, students around the world can interact with this expert persona to get questions answered, or leaders to get some knowledge, because I think most of us go to conferences, meetups like this to learn, but these experts can be available online to interact. So this is what I wanted to focus a little more, where it'll cover about how we are using these AI agents for personalization, how we understand the conversations and all that. So what are AI agents actually? They are the software, artificial intelligence software program that can interact with its environment, collect the data, and use the data to perform self-determined tasks to meet the goal. So it is not about asking question to a chatbot or persona kind of a thing. So these with agents, it is more than a chatbot. It gives an experience of really having that interactive conversation. So for example, when I said, what is the actual question you need to ask? When the apple fell down, Newton should have asked like, why the apple color is red, or why did it fall on my head, or something like that. But instead, he asked the right question. Why did it fall on the earth, kind of like down, right? That's when he discovered the gravity. So guiding for asking the right questions so that you really can be valuable, it becomes very important. So we are using these AI agent software programs to solve some of the goal-oriented tasks when these users are interacting with these personas. On a high level, there are a lot of these agent architectures, which is simple reflex agents, model-based reflex, utility-based learning agent, belief, desire, intention agent, logic-based, hierarchy, and goal-based agents. While I'm talking, I'll also mention which agents we are using so that you can have more in-depth understanding about how we are getting the personalization. So simple reflex agent is pretty simple, rule-based, right? It does not have like a lot of input, just like it is kind of getting one single input and then that's it. For example, setting the temperature on your thermostat or trying to reset your password. So that is very basic, simple reflex agent. So model-based reflex agent is, there are multiple models that sit within, and each model learns from each other. This is very much an architecture in self-driving space, where a car can, if it needs to put a brakes on, when it identifies an object, it has to process multiple things from internal models, like at what speed the car is going, and who is driving, and what is the obstacle? Is it an obstacle or not? Based on all these information, these models makes a decision to apply the brake. So this model is very much applied in the self-driving space for certain things. So utility-based agent is what is the best option based on the options available. So this is like in gaming. I have multiple options, but what is the best route that you can recommend me? So this becomes in an architecture that can be used in gaming, or where there is you have multiple options and you wanted the best option to be recommended. And learning agent is another architecture in this space, where it lives in a very unknown environment. It needs to learn from your behavior, your past behavior, and predicting the future. Based on that, suggest the recommendations. If you are a shopper on Amazon, all of a sudden you see the recommendations coming under that are based on your shopping behavior, your past shopping history, and also predicting what your future shopping would be. And similarly with Netflix, right? All of a sudden I get my movie kind of list that are of my interest, but it is based on what movies I have watched previously and what movies I'm clicking, and based on what movies I would be interested in. So that is a learning agent, where it does not have a specific thing, but it's learning through your past behavior and a future one. Belief, desire, intention agent. So so I think in these previous one, we are also one of the things that, sorry about that. So we have some of the backend programs that we are writing about is learning for some kind of recommendations. And belief, desire, intention is more of a human-like behavior kind of a thing. It has an environment where it has an understanding about what's happening. And based on that, it kind of does some reasoning and planning to provide some, solve some complex problems, like mostly how can a machinery navigate in a warehouse with a lot of obstacles, a lot of things, and intelligent assistance. And this is another agent that we are using for understanding what is the question like, what is the information that is existing and all those. So this is another one that we are using in Soopra. Logic-based agents are pretty much complex logic, right? Considering multiple things. Today is sunny, I have plans, what kind of waters, when should I start the sprinkler system and all those. So what if this happens, what should I do? And what if that happens, what should I do? It is based on multiple logic and reasoning to predict and also give you some kind of responses of that. So goal-based agent is so this is another agent program that we have for Persona, where a goal-based agent becomes like, how can you guide the conversation based on the first question that you get so that you are actually driving the conversation in a way that you are answering the question, and also follow-on questions can be guided based on the overall intention that is understood, which is the goal-based agent. And a hierarchical agents are, it's kind of, think of it as collectively achieving a goal. You have a supervisor, you have a small set of goals, it takes information from everything, and finally together they make a decision. And this is for mostly making decision for overall performance of the system, so that it has multiple information that it can gather from all the sub agents within it. So this is our agent architecture, where giving you example of a teacher, right? So this agent architecture where it helps both teacher for personalized use, where they could create and generate curriculum based on the content that they already have, and also assignment creation for teacher, where based on the content, what kind of assignment that your persona can suggest you. And for students, it's the teaching agent based on the interest of the student, what pace they are going and learning, and it becomes more of a personalized learning for the student based on the teaching agent. And specialized teaching agent is important because as I think most of you know, that when it becomes complex concepts, they need to be a lot of reasoning and then a lot of information that the system need to observe to teach complex subjects like chemistry, physics, and math. So, sorry about that. So this is AI agent in education, how we are augmenting teachers and to take care of repeat tasks, goal-based teaching tasks. I will also share a screen share of how Soopra performing in this. And this is advantage because, as I mentioned, with the Soopra persona of a teacher, they're available for students 24/7. In one of the professors that Ranjan, he has one class, he has 60 students, in another he has like 500 students. It's really hard for a professor like that to have one-on-one interaction or have office hours, because you only have 24 hours and you cannot really give the one-on-one attention to all the students. But imagine their Soopra is available to answer any questions that may be class related, that may be anything, the course related or prerequisites or their assignment, and their Soopra persona is able to answer it. So this is a goal-based teaching AI agent. How we are making it more personal is, for example, the preset goal is teach 4th grade math topic, including place value, addition, and subtraction. This becomes a Socrative way of learning, where it is conversational discussion, not giving the answer, but more of a guiding to get to the answer. So an AI agent can help both learning and teaching. And yeah, yeah, grading too. Yes, definitely. So so this is I think the screen is really small, but as you could see here, what's happening is when AI Soopra Persona start teaching, it actually starts guiding by giving some first information and asks a follow-on question. Like here, integers are types of numbers that includes all whole numbers and their negatives. For example, -3, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2. Can you tell me some other examples of integers? And let's say 5, 10, 20 was the student that was saying. Then the Soopra Persona says, great, 5, 10, 20 are -20 are indeed integers. In fact, any whole number, whether it's positive or negative or 0, is an integer. Now let's talk about operations with integers. We have 4 basic operations: addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. Can you tell me what you get if you add your 3 integers? It's 5, 10, and -20, and -5 is the user answer. So this becomes like a guided way of coaching, so that if the student answer is wrong, trying to get through the conversation how they can get to the right answer. So that becomes a goal-based learning, because the goal here is to teach the student to learn math, 4th grade math, with very specifics that we provided previously in the previous slide, so that they could learn the 4th grade math with those specifics. With this, I wanted to open up for any questions. Yes.
So when I attended thank you very much. So yeah, when I attended the Google I/O, the big Google conference, they showed us an agent called Astra. And it does almost everything you mentioned here except the teaching, based on the demo, is what I have seen. So is the teaching the differentiating feature for your agent compared to what Google is providing?
Yeah, so we are doing, thank you for that question. I think hope everybody heard the question.
Yeah.
So that's a very great question. So what Google is doing is similar, but we are giving this one more specific to not generalized, but it is very specific based on you. Like what your experience is, what your knowledge is. It cannot be generalized, right? So that's one. Other one is teaching is one of the areas that we are focusing, because on our platform, we have professors from Stanford, Harvard, Columbia, and others who have their personas on the platform. So we wanted to provide the capability as a teaching, not necessarily in that setting, but also when there is an expert, there are certain knowledge seekers that they want to learn from. Like, for example, we have any award innovators on our platform. They have very specific knowledge about certain things. And Dr. Jerry Zaltman is a ZMET innovator. So he has a specific information that he can teach on ZMET. So that's the route that we are going.
You have very good people.
Yes, definitely.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you for a great presentation. In one of your slides, you mentioned psychology modeling, and the other kind of modelings, like image modeling or voice modeling, or there was also analytics. They are pretty straightforward. There are technologies and applications that are available already. But my question is about psychology modeling. In a practical way, how do you do it? Like, I can think of some stuff like the example of Netflix. So if a user is watching certain category of movies, that kind of gives you a hint about the personality of that. Also, like there are like a standard psychology tests. Maybe that can be used for psychology modeling. I just wanted to get more information on your approach on your approach to this problem?
Thank you. That's a really good question. So definitely we are doing combination of things. One is as you are training your Soopra persona, there's few questions that you can answer. One that is personality related. We are using big five personality traits, which is Ocean, where the reason is it is the most research and most literature is available from big five. And it becomes very easy to have 5 categories instead of other personality traits have like multiple categories. So we are starting with big five. Apart from that, observing a Soopra persona personality through these agents itself, understanding the behavior of the users so that we have some base. So if we identify the base through the personality test that we have, we call it as per psychology, which is personality and psychology together. So base personality and understanding of the user is based on the tests that they take, as you mentioned, and also through these learning through their conversations that these personas have.
Do you take culture? People from different cultures, they understand things maybe different. So do you consider the cultural difference,
We are trying to do that.
language difference? And
We are trying to do that because definitely we are every person here is an immigrant, right? So this US is formed with people traveling from different countries.
yes,
So definitely our focus is there. So one of the challenges, understanding that cultural knowledge itself and building that in the back end is what we are looking at some of the options right now. Because first of all, we need to have an understanding about the base cultures. And one of the things that we have a hint of it is based on the country you were born in. That's one of the questions that we have to understand the culture a tiny bit.
excellent.
Other questions?
This is one to just kind of get a better understanding of your agent architectures and just so I can kind of understand it more. So I kind of understood the different types of agents, but I don't really have a feel for how you kind of organize them and whether the agents in each of those categories are learned, or whether you have a big collection of agents that fall in each of those that maybe a higher level LLM can learn to use like subtools, or whether the whole thing is driven by a pre-programmed agent that uses LLMs as subroutines, or or what. So I'd like to kind of understand kind of the higher level, like how all that stuff fits
There's
together.
a lot happening in the back end, I could say. It is not like one small thing. So definitely these LLMs understanding from various agents based on the intent of the user, right? So as I mentioned, for teaching, we have course generation agent and we have teaching agent, and those are the specifics for that. For example,
Were those kind of pre-hand designed, or?
so we are in-house programming those agents.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. And so then when you're learning a persona, like probably an LLM at the top level is deciding which of these agents it can use as subroutines to kind of
Yes.
implement the deeper reasoning
That's
capabilities
absolutely right.
that
Yes.
happen. Okay.
That's absolutely right. Based on that, it looks at the specific agent and based on the input that it gets, it validates and then provides the response.
Are any of the agents tuned to the personality, or are the agents all kind of, let's say, prepackaged subroutines that it gets to choose from?
They are tuned by base. We have some base agents and we have like learning agents, right? So that can become tuned to you itself. So those are the things that are available based on, because a persona cannot be built by just one document or one interaction, right? It's just like a baby where you need to start making it to learn, right? Based on its learning, what it is observing, and also how much time you spend with it to teach it. Because if you don't teach your persona, it is not going to act like you. Because for example, we have users who have added like 3 years worth of their meeting notes and then all the publications and all that. So it's a very rich persona. We have some users who are just starting that just uploaded their resume, which is not rich. So the tuning and learning will happen based on how much you are training your persona, how much time you're spending, and how the agent is learning from your training is becomes a very important aspect for building your Soopra.
Right. So I can imagine Stockfish might be an agent that you have in there, and then it watches me conduct my life and play some chess games. And if it just simply used that agent, it would make it look like I was Magnus Carlsen, when in fact I'm about as far from that as you can get, right? So maybe it would learn how to set Stockfish at a really super low level and play like a beginner.
Yeah.
And I can see so many applications for this. Like one thing comes to mind is dating. Like if you can model two persons like very accurately before them actually getting married first, and say, hey, let's have your personas and like talk together for a while and see how it like turns out.
Falling in love with each other,
Exactly.
not seeing people falling in love with each other.
Run simulations. 100,000 simulations on it. Stay married 10 years.
Yeah.
So do you have like when you're building this, do you have a specific target or goal, or you are just saying that first let's make these personas and see what usage we can get out of it in future?
So here's the journey of Soopra. So first, I started this idea 4 years ago, where my thought was, how can you create an extension of your loved ones that passed away? It was during COVID time. We interviewed 100 COVID impacted families, and everybody wanted to at least have one interaction with their past loved ones, because at that time closure did not happen. So that was the concept that I started with, but soon I realized that for personas to continue to learn, evolve, and also have that rich information, you can, and being ethical and responsible, having a person's persona who's passed away cannot be really trained by that person. So it is not going to be true reflective of an individual. So then moved on to the next use case of can we do influencers or creators? So one of the things that we learned is if a creator build their Soopra persona, there is a fear of losing their fan followers, because the stage we are in, the AI phase, there is a forgiveness that is needed for your person when it is starting to learn. But when you have millions of followers, the forgiveness cannot be there, because every small mistake becomes a big media PR thing. And also losing one fan is an impact on your revenue on the social media platforms. And also acquisition cost is pretty high, anywhere from 125,000 to 2 million per customer. So it is pretty high cost, and also you won't get to really have these influencer or creator train their Soopra persona. It gets trained by the agents that they work with them. Then even then, it is not going to be a true reflection of them, because it is trained by someone else. So it made like a good indication, and the signals that we got is experts, because they always want to be an expert in their domain, and they wanted to spend time learning new concept. They want to spend time writing so that people can learn from their writing. So that became like a way for us to get good signals that, okay, and also the Soopras perform well with the expert personas, because they were spending time in training it. They were spending time owning their own personas to make it more richer and richer. And with that, what we are seeing is the users. We got around 100 pages of responses from Stanford students in one course. And we have another 100 pages of responses from students where they felt like they're really talking to their professor, and it became more personal kind of responses for them. Because this person spent time to train their Soopra and made it available to the students.
Question from me. So there, you can learn knowledge to teach a class, but class subjects change over time, so you have to edit it. And you could learn my personality, but I'm humble, I'm not perfect. I may not want it to learn all my flaws. I may want the interactive version to be, let's edit it this way. So what are the options for editing, either on the personality side or the knowledge side? The knowledge side is easily with RAG, edit the database, but with anything with training, it's tough.
Absolutely. Very good question. That particular feature we are pretty proud of on Soopra because user can edit the responses and train in real time so that their persona can learn the new information. And if there is any delta in the knowledge that you have, you can still add to your persona and it learns within a minute. And real-time editing is less than a minute. Like you go through the response, and if you think that the response is not like what I would respond, and you edit it, and next time when the similar question or a question surrounding that kind of thing comes, it has the information that is actually edited by, where human in the loop becomes very important to make that more accurate information.
So is the learning like N-shot reasoning or case-based reasoning where it's by examples and then you edit the examples?
You edit the responses, so it automatically learns.
So I'm thinking about a brand wanting to create a spokesperson personality and have that spokesperson personality live over, a longer period of time than the actor might want to engage with that brand. So is there a concept of sort of an aggregate persona that can be augmented by others going forward or by a team of people that would be managing that brand persona? Scripted character, sure.
So we are not going through the scripted characters. The reasoning is it becomes not truthful information. It is a character that is generated by someone, but you can still do it if you wanted to.
Something like tech support though, like for a product, you want people to get the most accurate information that's up to date and maybe have a more personal interface that is factual, that's based on something that is true and repeatable. Is that?
Yes. So we have two clients that are using, we have B2B clients that are using. One is for RFP generation because they get tons of RFPs and it's really hard when a team member changes or some because of the time or there is a change in the team, it's hard to give those responses. So we have built, they have built their Soopra RFP responder for their company itself, and also Comp, where they spend at least 3 weeks creating the newsletter, and even then it is not really capturing the essence. So they have trained their Soopra persona with 3 years worth of newsletter. So now they're using it to generate the newsletter for them, which comes exactly as they would write with the CEO quote in it, and they're also using for announcements. So that is also a possibility that we are seeing. Mostly RFP was a big thing.
Hello, thank you for your presentation. I like this concept. And I have been observing this kind of business for a long time. I heard your idea is similar like the character AI, right? Character AI, yes, it's already become a unicorn, right? Yes. Right now, this company is doing well, and his idea is very similar like you guys. And don't you do you think for those kind of company who good at hardware like Apple Vision Pro, it has the very strong technology can copy the real face, right, from their customers. So if they like this kind of company who has this technology can generate the real face, and to add the models, the advanced models. Do you think it's a threat to you?
No, actually, it is not because actually, to answer your question, I wanted to tell when Google launched, Yahoo was also a search engine, but Google became very popular and Yahoo is nowhere right now. It all depends upon execution and what is your technology future roadmap is. We wanted to be at least 3 years ahead of the game with compared to our competitors. That's one thing. And to answer your question about character AI, I wanted to say that we are different from character AI. Character AI has fictitious characters that are not built by actual people. They build Elon Musk, very snappy Elon Musk, I could say, and they have built other characters, and it is explicitly says on the top, anything this character says is fake. Do not take it. And if they are on this end of a spectrum, we are on the other end of spectrum where we are saying everything this AI persona is saying is trained by the person whose persona it belongs to. So it is a different kind of use. And when you said threat, definitely threat is there, but also we have opportunities and strengths within the team and our models.
In some way, it probably enlarges the market space, the mental space for attention for that kind of project.
Thank you for great presentation. May I ask what your revenue plan?
Definitely.
Yeah.
So we have started seeing revenue coming in very small right now, but there is a route that we are taking. One is the personas that is based on are paying to maintain their persona on our platform, a small fee, and we give them an ability to monetize their persona. For example, I'm a YouTuber. I need to have million followers and million views and certain comments in it, then only I can monetize my content. But imagine if you're able to monetize with just 100 people, they're paying very small amount to access your persona, which can be $1 based on what you wanted. And let's say you'd say like, hey, I offer $1,000 per hour my consulting fee. I could offer my persona for $100. So imagine at a scale, how many people wanted to access your persona at that cost, which becomes like a monetization for you, right? So that's one. The other thing is we are doing professors and experts led launching into B2B. So we wanted to launch into universities and become part of the existing tool set like Canvas, Google Classroom, so that we can get integrated into it and start monetizing. Yes.
Then your voice is it's very important. If they speak with the mic, then your voice doesn't come through. So we'll try this.
Yeah, back to my question about metaverse. People use avatar, so I cannot see real person to relate to that person. If I'm a teacher, it's the student. So how you address this one? That's my first question. Second question is how you deal with people who have like are deaf or blind or speak.
Accessibility.
Yeah.
So the two questions here from the audience are how, if in the metaverse, if you're just showing a virtual 3D model of a person, I don't know that person, and how would I connect with that person? That's one question. The second one is if a user is deaf or cannot speak, has the accessibility issue, how are you addressing this one? So to answer your first question, so yes, eventually we have a lot of these AI personas floating in the world. It is we will see that eventually, but it's all about real people training their personas. So you have some confirmation, some trust that this is not a fake avatar or something, but it actually belongs to, as you saw, Dr. Ranjan Nag. And if you Google them, he's there. And also it is truly says that this persona is trained by it. So we are working on copyright and watermarking the content so that it is actually people can start seeing that their content is coming from their persona.
So you use watermark to overcome deep fake.
Yes. And to answer the second question about accessibility, so we have introduced not just only text-based interaction, but also voice. So we are working on that accessibility functionalities within our product as well.
Or maybe you can use your agent for those who are blind to read somehow. Can be very useful.
Yes.
So I can understand how the persona can be done for RFP. There's a lot of documented organizational knowledge or collective knowledge. But my knowledge is some experience is a sum total of my experience gathered over my lifetime in certain areas of expertise. And if it's not documented, how does it get transferred into the persona? Number one. What is the cost to me in terms of time and effort to do that? And number two is all that data. How can I make sure that data doesn't get used against me by malicious actors? Because now that it's out there.
So the question here is, the first one is, if I don't have documentation, how can I train my Soopra? The second question is, how do you make sure that my data is not misused? So the first question is, there are various ways that we are providing for a user to train their Soopra persona. You can just talk to you create a base persona, and you can talk to it daily, like a journal, right? And then it starts learning. Because we give you a starting point, and then it's you who need to start training based on just teaching it. Let's say, if you want, instead of writing, you can just talk to it and it'll start learning. So conversational learning, which is the journal kind of a way, it's provided on the Soopra platform, where you could talk to it and it starts learning. And the second question is, so our foundation principles are trust, safety, and security, and we don't want it to have any persona leakage from one persona to other. So we are building that into every layer of architecture from the beginning as well. And as we are designing our product, we are taking that very seriously to safeguard any of the content leakage or misusage. And that is a risk that we know, and we are putting all the guardrails and efforts to secure user information.
And does user have an option to delete his persona and all the knowledge that was trained?
So you can go there, and even today, if you just send us an email, or you could go delete all the content, it gets deleted right away.
And what if I want to archive it locally, delete it, and then at some future point, re-upload it?
Yeah, so that functionality is not there right now, but we are thinking about you can port a portion of your persona with your information, not necessarily with all things, but once you delete, those would be gone, but your content will go with you. That's where our principles are: user owns control and can monetize.
I'm a consultant. I have expertise. If I consult for Wells Fargo and I do some specific things, that's proprietary that I don't want to tell my next client, might be Bank of America. So there's general knowledge, like the way technical support can work across all clients, but specific things that are specific strategy consulting, that would be, is there some way to partition knowledge, multi-tenancy?
And you'll have the ownership of all those personas for you.
Okay, so the tendency, part of the idea is, like when I turn in a project and code and something for Bank of America, I still retain some high level knowledge.
Yeah.
That if I recode it for the next client, I can do that.
Yeah.
But I can't transfer the code or the knowledge directly from one client to another. So is there some amount that can be transferred, having done many decades of projects?
So that is up to you, because you have the ownership and control on how you want to do it. One thing you could do is you can create your master persona, where it is as a basic foundation knowledge.
Okay.
And then you could create sub personas within it, where it has Bank of America knowledge, it has Wells Fargo knowledge.
Okay, that would work. Because then if I go back and somebody re-ups to do more work, then.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, are you saying though that you want to basically take maybe the sum total of all your emails that have ever been sent back and forth and use that to train the Soopra. But they're intermixed with Bank of America and Wells Fargo and everything. So
I mean, I wouldn't necessarily do that, but I'm thinking, you know, if I'm a bricklayer, I can lay bricks for your house, and I retain the knowledge to lay the bricks.
Yeah.
And intellectual property,
yeah,
then the general knowledge is there. But if I sell you a blueprint for your house, you know, if that was, you paid me to do that design or that coding, you own that as my client. So that wouldn't be transferred. So you just from an intellectual property, some things are transferable from client to client, some things are not. And so I want to be able to retain some general knowledge. And I wouldn't know necessarily how that would be done, but some high level strategies of working on projects, that would be my common knowledge.
right.
But then things that are very specific to the field names of Wells Fargo would be different than the field names of Bank of America.
Yeah, and you're saying that in that case, you would basically want to filter the knowledge before feeding it into the different.
Yeah, I mean, that would be clear. I would.
That is users can, like.
Yeah,
okay.
Or you can feed everything to it, but when persona starts talking, then you can feed
Well,
them.
she said there's a broad persona and sub personas. So I could make use of that. I would have my broad persona for my general consulting knowledge and capabilities. And the sub personas would be like what I've done for you as a client that's proprietary. And I would know what would be proprietary because that would be part of the, you know, the project proposal and execution. And your project proposal would be different, but the general ability to do project proposals, the general ability to do sales, project estimation, that would be across clients.
Yeah,
Yeah, we are not going through the email route because there is privacy and security issues. Because
There'd be privacy for other people involved in the email.
yes, so we need to get permission from others to add those because there is so much of personal content going on, so that it will be a lot of privacy breach if we go through as the email.
I was thinking about training these models, like the more information you feed to them, they become more accurate, right? So wouldn't that be possible, like to just give a microphone to a person, like every conversation they have, it will be recorded and it will be applied to that model?
I'm doing for mine, I think I kind of feed it everything to it. Yeah.
But I understand the privacy concerns, but then there is a trade-off.
That's right.
So have you thought about the regulatory aspect of, because it seems from RFP within a business organization, you can create a composite persona, right? For example, a product manager, right? A composite persona for a project manager for EV or some specific thing can be created based on knowledge of like 3 or 4 or 10 different product managers over time.
Yeah.
But once they leave the company, their knowledge is still being used. And now it becomes the whole issue of compensation and not copyright, but some regulatory aspect. Like New York Times is suing ChatGPT, right?
Well, I mean, if I'm a programmer and I've turned in code and I leave the company, the company keeps the code. They keep some of the specific.
That's different from, I mean, regulation wise, you got paid for it, right? Yes. But this is after you left, your knowledge is still being used.
So even that is a case with no policies and regulations around. So what happens when an employee leaves the company? Because it is a loss of knowledge and loss of the company time for training. So but that is usually hire a person, given that you train them to do the task. So there are certain policy and regulations that are in this, so we are not touching that.
I know it doesn't exist today, but it's an externality for your business that if it suddenly comes up tomorrow, right?
Yeah, we are working with some of the lawmakers to understand some of the policies and how can be part of behind these policies. Because with these new use cases that are coming with AI, it's really we are moving towards technology so fast that there are no policies and regulations. Similarly, when I was in autonomous driving space, when I visited the city offices, talk about this.
It is hard to hear.
We are building so much, and then we are 20 years behind. The roads are not ready for it.
Excuse me, Praveena. Praveena,
It's hard to
Yes.
hear.
Praveena,
Can you hear me now?
you must speak directly into the mic, please. Do not try to depend on the ceiling microphone. It's not really helping. So
Can you
please-
hear me right now?
Yes.
So the question here is, creating persona for ex-employees, can we keep that as a company asset? So I was talking about, because there are no policies and regulations that exist right now, it is not an use case that we are going, but there are a lot of policies and regulations that need to come out, because the pace at which that we are moving in this technology, there are no policies yet. SAG-AFTRA is a good example, right? So, and still they came to some agreement, but still it is not in favor of the Actors and Writers Guild. So similarly, when I was giving an example about autonomous driving space, when I was working, I went to the city office, they said like, wow, this technology is moving so fast, but our roads are not ready for it, right? So still like, so whenever the technology moves so fast, there are policies and regulations that also need to move fast with educating the users. So that's what we are also working with some of the groups and lawmakers to contribute to these policies and regulations.
I mean, it's almost like you will have to take lead in recommending the policy. For example, if I was going to join a company, I might insist on my employment contract that if I give my knowledge to a persona, it better get deleted when I leave the company.
That's right.
There are a lot of ways to go about it.
So in the case of teaching, the teacher is the agent or the Stanford professor, for example,
Teacher is the agent.
is the agent. And the professor just trains the agent or gives the material to the agent.
Yeah.
And helps the student to tailor it to suit persona.
No, helps the persona to teach the student. Student can learn through the conversation. That's right.
Excellent, yeah.
I guess I'd like to hear your perspective on two things. One, I'd just like to hear what you thought about Reid Hoffman's persona and maybe your commentary on where that's at. But there was a politician, I don't know if it was Dean Phillips or somebody, who tried a persona, and I'm not really too familiar with it, but I have a kind of a sense that it was a kind of a big disaster in some way, but I'm not sure what happened there. I was wondering if you could review that case and what went wrong. Or...
So with these politician personas, it's really easy to convince the voters, right? Because you have this convincing bot behind, not necessarily truly reflective of how this particular politician would convince, right? So that becomes like a goal for converting a citizen to a voter for them. So it is not the right way to do it. So there are, again, the policies and regulations. So that's one. And regarding Reid Hoffman, he likes to play with toys, like technology for sure. So he pulled together a team of creatives to put everything together, which is pretty amazing. But definitely, when you look at the scale, you need to spend some amount of teams behind to build that kind of a AI to work as you expected. So definitely it was a fun to watch Reid do that, because he used multiple companies' products to put that together.
I mean, is that something that you look down on or aspire to, or how do you feel?
We wanted to focus on scale and accessibility, right? So eventually everybody should be able to create their Soopra persona, which is not possible if you have creative teams working to create that when it cannot be scalable. So our goal is to make it scalable and make it in a way that it is self-served. So if you look at the synthetic content that is floating out there, eventually in 5 to 7 years, there would be so much of content floating out there. It's really hard to say whether it is Praveena's or yours or Greg's or Linda's. It's really hard to say whose content it is. But if you have your Soopra persona, it really has a mark that this is Linda's or Greg's or Liana's kind of a thing.
Okay.
So that's where we are heading. So there is a debate for a founder like me, whether it is a philosophy or a business, or should I make the profit? But at the same time, it's a combination that works
Yeah.
to make sure that we are using the technology the right way.
Right. So did you, I did not, but did you actually try the Dean Phillips?
No, I just read through that.
Read about it?
Yeah.
'Cause that does seem like if it was done right, a really useful case. I mean, as a voter, you know, I would love to be able to ask directly, and if it was reflective of, I mean, a number of things. I mean, I don't know how well it would be, but you know, if I could really get a sense of their qualifications and their viewpoints and
Yeah.
their approaches, I mean, that could be extremely useful because it's hard to get, you know.
That's true. So one of the politicians reached us to build their Soopra persona, which was mostly focused on campaigns. Can a voter ask any policies that we have regarding that in their division itself? Can their persona answer questions that are available on the website that's lost? Really people cannot find because you cannot keep all the information. So that was one of the use case that we saw, which works really well because as a voter, I can't find all the information, but if a persona is available, it's available.
Yeah.
But it is not convincing to vote.
Uh-huh.
Have you looked at effective computing?
Can you
So
go?
effective computing, it is a group in MIT where they bring together emotion AI, other technologies to do something similar to what you are doing. Maybe you are ahead of them, I don't know. But it's a good idea, maybe to
I will
link it.
look into that for sure.
So maybe it's already a feature where persona is basically a digital twin of myself, right?
That's right.
Where I can rent or lease my persona to a company for services for a certain amount of time.
That is monetization capability.
Yeah, monetization part of it. Is that already a feature?
Not
If
right now.
not, when will it be?
We are releasing the monetization of interaction with your persona next week, where it is be a small portion of costs that your users would pay. But when it comes to scale, it's pretty large if you start monetizing it. So next week, it would be like users can pay $1.99 to interact with personas, and it will be a revenue share model.
I'm talking more in sense of like as an independent consultant or high power consultant, right?
So we have that in our
B2B kind of-
roadmap. Yeah, but we don't have it right now.
By when would you have it actually in your roadmap?
Early next year.
Okay.
So about that politicians thing, I think part of it is the questions and answer that the answer is like pretty clear, like it is already on the website. But you can also train the model so it can guess when a question comes up that has never been asked before.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you out here on Zoom land.
Okay.
So could that persona kind of predict that if that question is asked, what the actual person will answer based on information that is previously fed to the model?
Can you repeat your question? Sorry.
Well, about that example with the politician. So you said that there is information on the websites available. If somebody asks a question that is or that information is available, it can just find that information and give that answer, right? But using AI for the situation that the question has never been asked, that is something brand new. If the persona is trained well enough, then it can make a guess, a prediction that for that question, possibly this will be the answer.
It could be a hypothetical, you know,
Yeah.
what would you do if Russia invaded Poland?
Yeah.
You know, and you'd have to reason about, you know, they never talked about that before, we'd have to reason, yeah.
Yeah, so definitely those are sensitive topics, for example, right? So anything that is predicting for the knowledge that does not exist, we don't want to give an answer. Because then it becomes not the right information. We would give a high level, like a generalized response, but it will clearly mention that I don't have the knowledge about it. Next time I would let you know if once I talk. to them.
So you don't make prediction or you don't make like accurate guess or something?
No,
Okay, so you're talking about facts and
Yes.
data that is available.
that's right.
Sometimes I educate people, think of an LLM as a intern that can ask you questions. If I train a Greg personality, then if it gets to a stage where it's confused or there's lacking knowledge, could it ask me questions?
That's right.
Okay, so it
It'll
can
send
ask
you an
questions.
email right now
Okay,
with the questions. Yeah. So work in progress, but there's some methods to check with the user. Yes.
So any of us in this room can go to Soopra.ai and create our persona, right?
That's right.
Okay, so I have my persona and I started out with uploading my resume and now I'm talking to it. But one thing I found that was interesting is if someone's having a direct personal conversation with me, the person, I might not always have the same answer for that person because depending on what I've been thinking of, if I'm distracted by something, what I found is that my persona answers very intelligently from all of the information that I put into it. And I've actually been impressed by what I say, but it's all just from me originally.
That's amazing. Thanks for sharing that. Yes. So one of the, Jim Pulcrano is another professor on the platform. He goes like, I just was tired and I didn't know what to give my curriculum because the head of the department asked like, what is the next year curriculum looks like? So he just thought like I would ask my Soopra about creating a curriculum and he said like it spit out exactly how I would write it. So I just submitted as is. So he's using in that way. Great.
That's interesting.
Thank you, everyone. And those were amazing questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, thank you.
Sometimes in our intro talks, we also pass the mic around, ask if anybody wants to. Sometimes we also ask if anybody wants to announce job openings. Just as part of our networking and services, and anybody want to make any announcements like that? Going from one side of the room, raise your hand. Okay. So we have another upcoming talk. It's on our meetup site. So check there and we'll be posting other things there. We are open for, always open for speaker suggestions or, hey, this is a cool topic I'd be interested in. So go ahead and speak to any of the volunteers here. So a last round of applause for our speaker. Thank you very much.
You have a new speaker here.
What's that? Oh, okay.
You have a new speaker
Okay.
right here.
This is for the 19th or one of them. It turns out that I'm the creator of the phrase big data about 30 years ago.
Oh, okay.
Which the New York Times discovered after running around about 10 years ago. And that caused a whole bunch of requests for talks. Okay. So I made up a talk, okay, all right? And if you want to talk like that, tell me where to send a proposal.
Sure. Send a talk proposal and similar level of details or meetup site.
Yeah.
And
Your card.
that has like a talk description and speaker bio.
Yeah, I tried on the chat page, but for some reason the button you said was there, I couldn't find.
Oh, okay. I probably should follow that's on the meetup site or on the.
The first.
Okay.
Might get back to us.
I'll send you.
Okay, thank